Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I want to take you through a coding walkthrough on how you can set up the M-Pesa C2B payments into your system. So this is part of our Django SaaS series where we will be talking about how to handle billing and make the tenants pay using the M-Pesa C2B API. So we'll be walking through how to set up your access tokens, how to register your URLs, and also how to simulate your transactions the right way. So if you're a person who is into building a SaaS and you want to implement the M-Pesa C2B payments, this video is for you, and let's jump right in. So I do have a project here that we've been working on, so I did add a few more applications here. The first one, as you can see, is the billing, the communications. This is for sending alerts. The onboarding, this is going to handle the onboarding logic, and also the payments. So our focus today is going to be on the payments application. That's where we will define all our models that are related to the M-Pesa C2B API. Then we also have some custom commands that will be used for checking the access tokens as well as registering the URL using custom commands. So let's go ahead and see our setup for the payments application. First, we'll have a look at the models that we're going to use to actually define the fields that we're going to save from the transactions. So inside my models.py, I do have the M-Pesa transaction, which has fields such as the transaction type, status, and also the transaction details such as the amount, the time, and the type. We also have the customer details, the status, and also the timestamps. The next model is the M-Pesa URL registration. So we will be registering the URLs and also saving them into our database. Then the last model, we have the M-Pesa access token. So we want to be able to store the M-Pesa access token that Safaricom will be sending to us and save them into our database, and also set an expiry date for them. So that is it for our models. Then I also created a utility class that will be used to handle the model. So inside my M-Pesa utils, I do have this utility class called M-Pesa API, which basically just does the access token definition, registering of URLs, as well as simulating the payment. So let's get out of this one and then let's check our views.py. So we have two main views here that we need to check. The first one is the M-Pesa validation. This view will be primarily used for validating the data. For example, if you want to validate if the amount or if the account number is valid, this is where all the logic goes in. But for now, I'm just going to accept all the data. I'm just going to accept all transactions. I'm not going to do some external validation for my application. The M-Pesa confirmation. So this is where we actually save the request. This is now where we do save our request. So we just say we log some information over here for debugging. For if you want to debug your code, you can just see M-Pesa confirmation request received. Then you're also printing out the data so that you can actually see the data that is incoming. Then lastly, we are using the M-Pesa validation request serializer. We just give it the data over there, then we save it finally inside our database using the M-Pesa transaction.objects.get or create. And then lastly, we are just having a URL here to define the path. We do have the validation URL, which is really important. Safaricom needs this one, as well as the M-Pesa confirmation. So you need to pass these ones inside your register URL. So that's it for our payments, URLs, and views. Let's go ahead and go to our custom management. So the reason for this is that I wanted to have a custom command where I can just run in my terminal and automatically generate or refresh for me the access token, and also another command for registering the URLs without having to register them manually through my browser. So that's where I do have the management, which is a custom command structure. Then you also have the commands inside. Then inside the commands, I do have 3 files. The first one is the check access token, the register urls.py, and also the simulate payment. So let's go ahead and check the check access token command. So what is that? Is just it basically generates some access token, and if it already exists, it will tell you the expiry date, the expiry time, and also it can also log them, record them inside our database. So that is it for our check access token. So that is our access token. Then the next one is the register urls.py. This is important, you must have this one. This is where we actually register our callback, our validation, and the confirmation URL. So this is just a custom command taking in some options over here. If you want to run a command with some flags, this is how you add it. Just add the arguments. The option here can be shortcode. Then the response type, we've also added the response type. The default is completed. Then the base URL is the base URL, and it's defined inside our settings. We think we need to import it. Yeah, it's just here, get attribute settings, then the base URL. And now for the main commands that we are defining handle, that is now the main command that will handle everything. We are trying, the first thing is to get the shortcode from the options up over here. These are where we are getting our shortcode from the add argument options. Then the response type is just going to be the response type from our options, the base URL as well. So the validation URL is this one, and the confirmation. So we also are collecting the amount from the user. So I want to dynamically be able to input the amount as well as the bill ref. So that's why I'm collecting this one from the terminal. So enter the amount. I'll be able to enter different amounts after running the command, as well as the bill ref number, which is going to be just a character field. So that is it. Then we are using the M-Pesa API utils, M-Pesa API class that we just created inside the utils, M-Pesa utils module. And then here we're just making the request. So response is equal to M-Pesa API.simulate, which is the name of the method that was defined inside the M-Pesa API class. So let's go ahead and test the application itself. It's already deployed in Heroku, so all we need to go to is my terminal here. Let me just make it bigger so you guys can see what's going on. Yeah, I think that's big enough. Okay, so the first one is that we need to check the access token if they are really valid. So I'm just going to say python manage.py, then check access token. So you can see the existing tokens in the database. We do have a few existing tokens here inside my not expired. So up to that point, we are safe to move to the next one. Now let's register our URLs. So I already make a registration. It's just going to tell us that the URLs have already been registered, but let's run the custom command for registering the URLs. So python manage.py, then is register underscore URL. That's the custom command. Then let's see, there's a spelling error. It should be register URL. I spelled it wrong, so register, not register. So register URL. If I press enter, yeah, so you can see that we have the two confirmation and validations URLs, and the completed are already registered. Yeah, so they have already been registered, and now all we have to do is to actually simulate a transaction so that we can check if the transactions are actually working. So let's go to the terminal once again and write Python manage.py, then simulate payment is the name of the custom command. Yeah, so we are getting the default shortcode of 600 995. Then the phone number is also provided by Safaricom. We can't use our own phone numbers here. Then now we are going to simulate the amount. I can just add this one dynamically. Let's say somebody wants to pay for the 2500 package. Then the bill ref, we're just going to add the account number for the user. So it can be account number, then 001. So that's going to be the bill ref. Then let's just press enter. Now it is telling us that the transaction simulated successfully, waiting for 10 seconds for confirmation that Safaricom is sending us after a simulation has occurred. This is what is being posted back inside our confirmation URL. You can see it's confirmation received, transaction type is Paybill, the transaction ID, transaction time. And another interesting thing to know is that Safaricom just sent you back hash value. So instead of a masked phone number, you'll always get a hashed value over here. So this is one of the main pain points that I went through, because I spent a lot of time trying to figure out why the MSISDN is not returning a masked phone number. So I was worried what this figure was, but it turns out Safaricom has implemented this feature of data minimization. So instead of sending you the phone number of the partner, it's actually sending you back a hashed value. So always ensure that if you are adding a field for the MSISDN, always make it large. So give it like the character field should be like 100 instead of just putting it at the normal 15. So this is something that it's really worth noting. It took me some time to be able to figure out the first name, the middle name, and of course the last name is not provided again for the data minimization. So again, you can see that the log for the previous transaction that I made was processing payment for transaction for that transaction ID, and it's been confirmed. So that is the last one that I was able to receive. So let's try again, and if you check the M-Pesa transactions here, you can be able to see that we did have like 3 transactions. That was some moments ago that we just did. It's giving you the transaction ID. You can check this one. It has the transaction details of Paybill, the business information, this the bill ref number that I provided, as well as the business shortcode, the customer information, the validation, we did not validate it, and also the timestamps. So that is it for the transaction. So that is it for our M-Pesa transactions. So the next one, we are going to start working on how we can actually send invoices to our clients whenever they do make a payment. And also we are going to learn how we can update the status of the payments. So right now we do have invoices. Whenever a client has subscribed to a given package, they do have this is paid to false. So over here we'll be using asynchronous tags such as Celery and Redis to be able to automatically update this invoice whenever client has made the payments. So right now it's marked as not paid, but by using Redis and Celery we'll be able to do some background check and update this one to paid whenever a client has made a payment. So that is going to be our next focus once we've seen how we can implement the M-Pesa C2B API. So that's it for today's video. In the next one, we'll be exploring how to use background tasks to be able to update the status of our invoice payments. So if you like videos like this, please consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't, and also hit the like button. It really helps me pump more Django tutorials like this one. So that's it for today, and see you in the next one.